Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. Today, we're going to take a look at the Toyota Tacoma ECT Power Switch to see if it really makes a difference. Well, I'm curious if the ECT switch is any different in my 2021. Now, what Toyota calls this is the power mode switch. I've always known it as the ECT switch or the electronically controlled transmission switch. If you're not familiar with it, this is where it is. It sits right here in your dash. It's actually the second switch in. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a look in the manual over here, see what Toyota has to say about it, and then we're going to take it out on the road and test it and see if it does anything. All right, I've got the manual right here. I'm going to show you or tell you guys what Toyota says. It's not very long, just a little blurb right here. And by the way, one thing I did notice, in the 2021, it actually changed pages. Page 211 right now in the manual versus 203 where it was before. I don't believe the description is any different than before, but we'll take a look at it real quick before we head out and do a little test. Also, before I get into that, if you're new and you haven't, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Okay, so what does it say? Well, first of all, again, it is the power mode switch as opposed to the ECT switch in the manual. And if you try to find ECT switch, there's nothing there. So it says selecting power mode and when you're supposed to use it. Says use when high levels of response and feeling are desirable. Well, that's pretty much all the time for me. I mean, I'd live in a constant state of high levels of response and feeling if I could, such as when driving in mountainous regions or when pulling a trailer. It's really more of a tow haul kind of thing, but they don't call it that. So how do you use it? Step 1, press the ECT power switch to select power mode. Now, it's either on or off, so it's not like you have different modes to select. Number 2, let's see, it says the ECT power switch or power indicator comes on. That'll be in the dash. We'll show you that in a minute. And then it says press again or press the button again to cancel. Not a big deal, pretty simple. Doesn't say anything about whether you should be stationary, moving, below or above a certain speed, so we're going to assume none of that matters. Now, I do have Sprint Booster installed in this truck. I am going to turn it off just so we can experience the power mode switch or the ECT switch stock. All right, here we go. We've got the Sprint Booster off. You guys can see the screen is dark, which means I'm not using it at all. I'm going to go ahead and push the ECT power button. Before I do that, there's a look at what the dash is. So we should see an indicator come on. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. And in the dash, in green, you should be able to see right there, it says ECT power. You know, one thing that's a little confusing to me is why do they continue to call it ECT as opposed to power mode, like the PM switch or something? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to head out on the road now. I'm going to see if there's any difference. All right, we're out in the real world now. Gotta say, driving around without the Sprint Booster on, because I turned the ECT off until I got to this point because I wanted to do a test with you guys. But driving around without the Sprint Booster on, boy, this thing is a dog without that. But anyway, let's go ahead. I'm going to re-engage. I just did. The ECT power button is on. I didn't notice any sound difference or any difference at all when I initiated it. So it's not like the truck jumped into some power mode or anything like that, even though it is the power mode switch. Now we're just going to take off as normal. Kind of feels the same as normal to me. I'm going to stop and turn it off and do that one more time. I just want to get a good feel for it. Here we go. We're stopped. The button's off. No difference in anything. there is no difference at takeoff, I can tell you that. So it's not like it gets rid of throttle lag or anything like that. So it feels the same. I'm gonna go back to ECT power now. On the fly, here we go. Okay, it's lit up. We're still moving, you can hopefully tell. Not feeling a big difference. Now, let's get out on the road where we can get some power. Gonna make a bumpy turn here. Okay, here we go. Just gonna give it some gas. I didn't really feel any power mode switch button effect. I'm gonna stop, we're gonna turn it off. I'm gonna do the same thing. Here we go. Power button is off. I gotta tell you, it actually feels a little bit quicker without the button on. And I think that's because it holds the gear. It really is an electronically controlled transmission button or switch, even though they call it the power mode switch. But I gotta say, I think it has a little more oomph when it's off. I don't know. Let's stop. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on. And you might be able to hear it holding the shift. Here we go. Man, I don't think it really even held anything. I think it's just slower. Now, maybe if you're going up a mountain or something like that, maybe it feels a little extra pull, you know, on the truck, and that would make it a little quicker. I'm not sure, but I didn't really feel a big change there. Now, while we're cruising, and I'm hitting 55 right now, I'm just going to turn it off. I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything either way with it off at speed. Again, I did feel, or it seemed to feel like hitting that power mode switch actually reduced the power a little bit from a takeoff. Kind of like maybe it did hold the gear longer, and due to the throttle lag in the Tacoma, it just really makes it worse. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna kick it back on. We're still hitting 55. The light's back on. I don't notice anything. So I'm gonna drive here. While I continue, we're just gonna leave it in. I'm gonna come up to a stoplight here in a minute. We're gonna take off again. Oops, I need to slow down. I'm getting on the gas now. Back to 55. They do patrol this road heavily. That's why I'm more concerned about the speed. But I gotta say, I don't really feel any difference whatsoever, at least not on a flat surface. So I would say the power mode switch is a dud. Maybe it's a placebo type unit, I'm not sure, but definitely no increase in power just driving down the road. So we're gonna come to a stop if I get this red light here, which it doesn't look like I'm gonna, but that's okay. I'll slow down and speed up once we get through it, which is right now. Okay. The only thing, there might be one thing I notice, is that it might be a little bit smoother. And that's probably because, again, it's dragging the gears out longer. So when you get on the gas, it doesn't shift as quickly to the next gear as it probably would. Let's check. I'm gonna turn it off. Yeah, I'd say, if anything, it might make the transition in the transmission through the gears a little bit smoother. But that's really all it's doing. I don't notice anything as far as power goes. So, you know, there have been a lot of people out there that like to contradict me, I guess, when it comes to the power mode switch or the ECT switch, that it somehow makes a huge difference and that it's equivalent to what the Sprint booster is on the truck. And while I'm not trying to turn this into a Sprint booster plus pro or con video, I gotta say, no, definitely not. There's no way that that ECT button is the same thing. And again, I would argue that it doesn't do anything on straight roads. You push the button, You might get a little bit smoother transition or shifting between the gears, but you certainly don't get any more power. Anyway, that's my test of the power mode switch, otherwise known as the ECT switch, in the Toyota Tacoma. Leave a comment, give it a try, and give me your honest opinion, and try to avoid the placebo effect. I know it's hard to do. And let me know what you think. Do you notice any difference? And I'm particularly interested if you live in a hilly or a mountainous area and you utilize the power mode switch in your Toyota Tacoma, and if you notice any difference whatsoever, or if you're towing. Leave a comment down below. I'd be curious. Also, once again, if you did in the beginning, make sure you smash that subscribe button and click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I do have 2 additional channels: RobMotive FST, all about full-size trucks, and RobMotive JT, all about Jeep Gladiators. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.